8 on the shot clock for UT. Here's Taylor, top of the arc, taking Medford off the dribble. Kicks it inside eBay. A throwdown. Prince with the flush. 56-49.
No doubt. Prince eBay scoring. But we have an even bigger moment right now on Longhorn Weekly. For the first time in the history of the Longhorn IMG Radio Network, we have a head coach and his wife on. At the same time, please welcome Shaka Smart, who's with us as well.
I'm surprised at that.
First time ever. First time that we've done it, because most of the time it's because the head coach feels as though the wife is going to show him up, I think, in most cases on that. But you're unafraid of that, so that's a good thing.
I'm used to that. That's no problem.
Maya, it's great to have you. Tell everybody first. I'm gonna let both of you tell your sides of the story. How did you meet? How did it all, the interesting elements that happened of your relationship over time?
We were actually introduced by a mutual friend, someone who worked with Shaka and knew me from growing up when he was an assistant at the University of Akron. Akron's my hometown. So met him there and imagined us staying there for many, many years, him being the head coach at Akron and me being the editor of the Akron Beacon Journal. But things turned out differently.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So what was your first impression of mine?
Yeah, it was actually a blind date.
Really?
And the friend that introduced us is a dear friend and someone that we both still stay in touch with now. But she actually tried to hook me up with her stepdaughter first. So I'm glad that I never met the stepdaughter. I never even saw her, and I'm glad that she actually made the right decision and introduced me to Maya.
Maya, who is Shaka Smart, the person, the husband, the father, separate from the basketball coach?
I think that Shaka, the coach, shares a lot of similarities with Shaka, the father, and Shaka, the husband. Incredible energy and enthusiasm. So all of those things that you see elements of on the sideline, that exists in real life as well. Also, that sort of genuine concern for the people who are close to him. So the care that he shows for developing his players as whole people, that is very much evident at home, particularly with our daughter. But a very caring and compassionate, enthusiastic person. So
the key word there, I think one of the key words is genuine, because anybody can come home and try to fake it and say, hey, how you doing? And a really good spouse can see through the other spouse to see if they are really feeling. But you're saying he brings that genuine enthusiasm into the house then.
He absolutely does. And the compassion and the concern. There's definitely
better after a win though, right?
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Shaka, you kind of made it clear in the opening news conference that the decision to come to Austin, you said, was truly a family decision. So I wanted to get both of your perspectives on what that meant about it being a family decision, everything that entails, first from you and then from Maya.
Well, our personalities are a little bit different. I'm a little bit more laid back, and Maya's more assertive, I think, in certain ways. And so actually with most big decisions, she usually has more of the say.
Really?
And for me, I have a real hard time with change. I struggle with change. It's just part of my personality type. Maya is great with change. She just takes it on. And the times we moved from Clemson to Florida. Then we moved from Florida to Richmond, Virginia, and then, of course, from Richmond here. The way that she's taken on that move has been unbelievable. So really, if it wasn't for her, I don't think I ever would have changed jobs. And actually, that's going all the way back to the University of Akron. Remember, she had to twist my arm to go from being an assistant at the mid-major level at Akron, where I loved it, to going to be an ACC assistant coach. And she said to me, she said, you want to be a head coach, right? Well, then this is a no-brainer. You have to make this move. So I really am appreciative of her, because she's basically taken over those decisions.
Maya, I find that fascinating, because we're talking about the two of you then uprooting from your hometown, right?
Initially, yes.
Yeah. And yet you were the driving force to leave to go to Clemson, South Carolina, which is quite a bit different than Akron, Ohio.
It is. And I had actually been in graduate school when we got engaged, so I was living in Chicago, Illinois. So Chicago, Illinois to Clemson, South Carolina was definitely a change of pace. But I was excited for that opportunity for him. And again, it was obvious to me that that was a good move for him given his ambitions in this profession. I said, it's the ACC. I'm not a basketball expert, but it seemed like a great opportunity.
Okay, what about the family decision to come to Austin, Texas? Because, you know, it was well publicized how you had been really pursued by other programs when you were having the success at VCU, and you kept turning down opportunities. It was well publicized and reported, and then this comes along. I got to believe that there's a family decision involved with this.
Absolutely. We had about a 14-point checklist when evaluating different opportunities.
Oh, so you're into the list too, like him. He's big on lists.
I'm not sure who influenced who in that respect, but this opportunity checked a lot of boxes for us, and I'm very excited to be here. Basketball aside, Austin has a lot of wonderful opportunities for us philanthropically, professionally, for me as well. So it's been a great experience.
Have you gotten the vibe, Shaka, that she is embraced Austin, and Austin has embraced her the way it's worked out so far?
Well, you know, I think between Maya and our daughter Zora, and also Maya's mom Margaret, who lives with us, I think from my vantage point, Austin's been great for the three of them. They seem like they really enjoy it here. You can't beat the weather. The people here are terrific, and there's just so many different opportunities in the cultural scene. Maya is a terrific writer. She's a prolific reader. There's a lot of opportunities here in the writing community, and so we love it so far.
Yeah. All right. We're going to let you go over there, and Maya and I are going to talk more about the things that really make her tick coming up as Maya Smart joins us during this portion of Longhorn Weekly here from Pluckers on the Longhorn Network and the Longhorn IMG Radio Network. We continue with Longhorn Weekly. The name of the program is Longhorn Weekly with Shaka Smart. This portion of the program is Longhorn Weekly with Maya Smart, Shaka's better half, who joins us during this portion of the program. Folks who know a little bit about you, or folks who know a lot about you, know how well-read you are, how well-educated you are. But take me back to your childhood and what fostered all of that hunger and appetite for learning and reading and all of the things, the writing that you do, all of those things.
Well, if we take it back to the very beginning, I'll have to start just from birth and my parents naming me after an author. So I'm named after Maya Angelou. And then several years later, turned around and named our daughter after another writer, Zora Neale Hurston. So the idea that writing was important and something to be celebrated was always just a part of my upbringing. Grew up in a house full of books. My mom always has a book with her. And my dad was a big reader as well.
Well, and then after that, you go from a public school in Northeast Ohio to Harvard. Then you had a decision to continue your education at the prestigious Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern. I mean, that's high-level education. How you went along that path, that's pretty interesting, between Harvard and then going to the fabulous journalism school at Northwestern.
Well, I had a couple of great role models growing up in Akron, one babysitter, and then also the brother of another babysitter had gone to Harvard before me. So I knew it was perfectly attainable for a black girl from our area of Northeast Ohio from a public school to go to Harvard. Went to Harvard, had a great experience, actually worked initially in investment banking and realized that was not at all what I wanted to do and was not what I was interested in. And so slowly started working my way back into something more communications related. So I did some investor relations and public relations, and then wanted to skip to the other side and be a journalist and get to ask the questions as you do each day.
You were very active in the Richmond area in the time that Shaka was at VCU, and socially active, involved there. And I know you do that as well, and you've got your website. Well, in fact, I want to make sure I quote it right. Read well, live well on your website, right?
Yes. I'd been trying to come up with a tagline that summed up all of my interests, and a lot of them went back to reading. Even my choices in terms of the organizations that I volunteer with and the boards that I serve on, all of those end up being related to literacy and just encouraging education among young people. So it's all sort of related.
It's still early days for you being in town here, but I take it you've already kind of been looking into seeing what areas that you'd like to be involved with, and obviously neighborhood Longhorns program is real big around here as well, and there's other things as well. But you find yourself when you go to a new place, Richmond, or in this case Austin, you look and see where you want to be involved with some of the foundations and some of the programs that go on in that community?
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, a lot of the things that I did in Richmond, I found sort of the Austin version of it to get involved with. For example, in Richmond, I was in a women's philanthropic group called Impact 100, where 100 women got together to make large contributions to local nonprofits through a grant review process. And then here in Austin, I'm in something called Impact Austin. That's the same model, again, of learning about different community organizations, visiting their sites, and figuring out how to make a grant that makes a difference.
What is the most rewarding and yet also the most challenging part of being a coach's wife?
The most rewarding part is being able to see Shaka live his dream. He literally, you can tell when you see him on the sideline, particularly in the games when they wear tennis shoes. You can see him just running up and down the sideline. You see him in the stance as if he's playing defense. So that is the most rewarding part. Seeing not just the games, but also the deep relationships and bonds that he's able to develop with players. We went last week to see one of his former players who was in town playing in a game, a D-League game. And again, college is over for that person, but his career is continuing, and Shaka is still a part of his life. So that is the absolute best part of being a coach's wife. Some of the challenges of being a coach's wife are just getting adjusted to not being anonymous in a community, to being recognized places, and also just some of the things that come along with having a higher profile.
It's great to have you with us. Thanks for giving us a little insight into him. We appreciate that.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Maya Smart with us. Shaka will be back. We'll wrap up this week's edition of Longhorn Weekly right after this.